Chris Hauck, Coldwell Banker. Welcome back to our video blog. See, I've got a couple questions from people asking about early move-in or pre-occupancy agreements. And I thought I'd go over some of the pros and cons of that very quickly for you. What we're really talking about is we have a closing on a house coming up. Typically, we're going to be closing on the house. The buyer gives the check to the seller gives the keys to the buyer, and we have a completed transaction and a move-in date, the same date as the closing. In the real estate transaction, there are a lot of moving parts. Doesn't always work quite that smoothly, and occasionally things come up. We may have a case where there might be a minor title issue that needs to be resolved. Sometimes we have an underwriting issue that is going to take another couple days. Sometimes it may take another couple, 2-3 weeks. A variety of different things may come up. And it may be sometimes beneficial to have a early move-in agreement, and it sometimes is beneficial not to have an early move-in agreement. As with every real estate transaction, there are two sides to the transaction. We have the buyer side, we have the seller side. If we have a case where the buyer needs a little bit of time to get closed, has to be out of their apartment, really has no place to go, then our job is to advocate for the buyer and see if we can get an opportunity for them to move into the house early. If it's a matter of a couple days, many times there's no additional cost. If it is going to be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then usually there's going to be a rental agreement that is adjusted on a daily basis to cover the time they're using the house. If we're representing the seller, the question is the transaction going to close? And we want to look at it very closely. Having a buyer living in the house that cannot close is really not ideal, and we want to avoid that if at all possible cost. So what we have to do is very carefully look at the circumstances. There are times when it works extremely well for both parties. There are times when it's best to avoid it, but on a case-by-case basis, we can take a good look and see whether or not it's the right thing to do or it should be avoided. Again, if you have any other questions, if there's anything else you'd like us to go over, please feel free to give us a call and we'd be glad to talk about it. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next video blog.